How's it going today, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Earthy Christianity YouTube channel. As always, my name is Jacob Daniel, and I hope you're having a good day, wherever you may be. So I'm trying to lean over to slide something in my pocket. LOL. Anyway, today in my daily Bible reading, I just wanted to had some thoughts on. So my Bible reading, I guess you could say I read a lot of Bible, or at least this year I've endeavored to take up more Bible reading. So I always do this didn't start at the beginning of this new year, but the To the Word challenge starts kind of like, I forget where it starts. It starts like partway through the year. So I'm already like, I think 147 days in, and it's like a 270-day challenge. So I do the To the Word challenge. It's put out by Canon Press. Both me and my wife do that, which is a lot of scripture that you would read every day. So I start my day off with the To the Word challenge. And then I don't even think it's been a full year yet, but I really became appreciative of the Anglican Christian tradition, and so I started doing the 30-day morning and evening psalm reading, where you would go through all 150 psalms every month. You have a morning reading and an evening reading, and so I've been doing that. I think for a little. I don't think it's been a full year yet. But yeah, I think I started that maybe it's got to be coming up on a year. So coming into this new year, I wanted to kind of continue with the Anglican tradition in Bible reading that they had. So they have the lectionary readings. And so today, the lectionary reading today, I guess in the Anglican tradition, they celebrate today on January 25th, the conversion of the Apostle Paul. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, the conversion of the Apostle Paul and my own conversion, and just kind of give thanks to God, because that's, what I'm being reminded of. And so just reading the conversion of the Apostle Paul again, just being reminded of his persecution, of where you who roam the internet may be. The Apostle Paul was converted and knocked off his donkey, and Christ came to him and told him what he would do. He saved him. I think we always make those jokes as Calvinists or whatever against like Arminian theology. And again, I'm not trying to pick and poke fun at that or whatever, but that irresistible grace aspect of Paul's conversion. Paul was called to be an apostle to the Gentiles, and the sovereign Lord told him what he would do and how he would use him, and that Paul is not his own man, but that Jesus would use him as an apostle to the Gentiles. And so beautiful. And even Ananias' obedience to go to him and to pray for the man who he assumed he would go to his death, right? But to pray and the scales to fall off his eyes. And me and my YouTube channel, I have a video called Stop Trying to Convert Your Children, because I am definitely not an advocate for conversion or you're being called moment experiences, even though I come from that. But I remember the moment that the scales came off my eyes when I was homeless, and in my testimony video definitely pulls that out. But when I was in my bedside praying to the Lord, and I knew that it was just an outcry. It was just a cry from my heart that the Lord had already turned. The Lord, more moments before that, seconds before, whatever the I don't care what the course of action was, but I called to the Lord in my distress, and He delivered me, and He saved me. He brought me straight to His Word. Couldn't get out of the Bible. I had a little orange New Testament Psalm and Proverbs that I just got a highlighter, and the whole thing was pretty much yellow before you could tell. But reading that today in the Anglican tradition, them celebrating the conversion of the Apostle Paul, and reading that narrative in Acts 9, 1 through 22 again, and just being reminded that God comes. For one, God always uses the most unlikely people. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 lays that out so prominently. God shames or He despises the strong by raising up the weak. I can't recall exactly how it's worded now, even though I could pull out my small Bible and look. It's so beautiful, such a beautiful thing. Reading, and of course these are narratives. They're not prescriptive and descriptive. This is a descriptive text, right? So it's not always expected to be that way. I don't think it should. I don't think everybody should be the Apostle Paul in their conversion. I would hope not. I hope we're not all killing Christians and then we all come to, the generations that we raise up after we were killing Christians. In that sense, speaking in that way, it's not like that. We want to raise up our kids in faithfulness in the generations after us so that they are not persecuting us in the generations to come like it was in the time of kings, those who turned away from the Lord, who had turned to the Lord, who turned back. But we have the promise in Malachi that the Lord will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. But we see that with the Apostle Paul, who then at the end of it, if you recall in verse 22 at the end of the narrative, that he was boldly proclaiming Christ and proving that Jesus was the Christ, was God from, Paul was doing that immediately after his conversion. And he's the Jew of Jews, right, of the tribe of Benjamin. He's the man whom you wouldn't expect to do it. So just a beautiful thing, and I'm reminded of when I was saved. And I think if you watch this video and you don't have that conversion experience, your conversion experience was, you can just be reminded of not, I guess not a proud way of not having to be where Paul was, but just the grace of God being raised in the church. I mean, you were saved through your baptism. You were brought out of the world. You had the grace of the church, the grace of Christian parents, the grace of your pastors, of your elders to teach you the way. And you were saved from this present evil age. You were brought into the ark of Christ's church, and that in a sense being the conversion. Remembering your baptism, remembering that your old self was drowned out in those waters, and it being a beautiful thing, in your continual faith and trust in the promises of God, seeing you to the end, as it would surely see the Apostle Paul to the end of his ministry and his martyrdom. As I pray that, Lord willing, I die in a good old age, that I will remember on my deathbed those promises and see how God fulfilled greatness throughout my life. But yeah, just thinking about that. Hope that gives you something to think about too. Anyways, grace and peace to the saints. God bless the rest, and take care.